Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is actually the second time I'm recording it, so I didn't put as much effort into my makeup, so I hope it's okay. I'm going to talk about the reasons why I give up on online dating. I would think the formula would be fairly straightforward. You chat with somebody, you have some stuff in common, or you have a little bit of a spark and you connect, and then you meet in person and you go from there. But instead, it is a never-ending wasteland of confusion. Weep for humanity, people. So, we have a guest star, as always. Okay, so, bear with me. Number one is the people that put in absolutely no effort. For example, I was talking to this guy, and he was talking about house repair, and I personally just find house repair boring, but I am a polite human being and was asking questions and being engaged. He asked me what I was doing that weekend or whatever. Oh my God, fatty, I swear to God. He was asking me like what I was doing that weekend, and I was like, oh, I'm going for pho with my favorite librarian. I'm gonna hang out with my brother's Doberman, swim in his pool, and working on some creative projects. He writes back and talks about how he hopes it doesn't rain on Tuesday when he's going to do some home repair. Does not acknowledge or refer to anything I've said. Does not ask further questions. Doesn't say a word. So I don't know if he finds Dobermans boring, if he finds pho boring. I don't know what that is. I just find it rude, and it doesn't carry the dialogue further. You have nothing, you don't even acknowledge. Great. Oh my God, daddy issues coming back. Please listen to me. The second is people who are selfish. The selfish gentleman, where most things, everything is on his terms and his clock and all that. So I was talking to this guy. He asked me out for coffee. Offered, like, let's meet halfway. Like, do you work downtown? Yes, I do. I work at Bay and Bloor. He's like, let's like do something halfway. I'm like, okay, this is like, you get it. And then he's like, okay, let's meet at Second Cup at King and Peter. I mentioned I worked at Bay and Bloor. He knew I was meeting him before I had to start my shift. So he is asking me to go all the way to King and Peter and then go all the way back to Bay and Bloor for my shift. I find that inconsiderate. And it's not like he had a really cool spot at King and Peter. Like, I'm sorry. Second Cup's the worst. I'm not just saying that because of this specific date situation. It's because it's like literally the worst. I'm not a coffee snob. I feel like I have a sophisticated palate. Not a snob. I drink Maxwell instant crystals, but Second Cup is dishwater swill. So, yeah. Like, just no. I mean, I get it. We're all so cynical and so jaded, and we've all been screwed over, and you don't want to put effort into anything. But it's just gotten to a point that's, I find, absolutely ridiculous, where people are just, they're not even doing the bare minimum of etiquette and politeness. The third is just the people who are like, huh? These are the people that come in hot. You know, the super likes on Bumble, the extensions, all that stuff. Or their first messages are like, wow, you're so beautiful, you're so interesting, I was hoping you would talk to me. And then they have nothing. They have nothing, folks. They have nothing. Just one-word answers, barely any reply. And sometimes with a super like, it's like, I was on the fence, but since you super like me, let's give it a shot. And then I'm doing all the work. Okay. Don't care for that. Number 4 is the classic ghost. So as a disclaimer, I don't entirely have a problem with ghosting. I don't mind it when it makes sense. Like when you're talking, oh my gosh, my cat is too fuzzy. Like, she's too fuzzy. I don't mind it when you're talking and there's obviously not momentum to the conversation, there's not a connection, and one of you stops talking. Like that is fine. My feelings are not hurt at all. But it's the inexplicable ghosting that is so strange. For example, I was talking to this guy and he asked me out, and I'm talking like we were like mid-planning, like we had picked a date. Okay, we're gonna hang out Monday, like around this time. And then the next time I went to check my messages, he had unmatched me. So, classy, A+ job on that. Smooth guy. That's a really cool thing to do. What I wondered is, why do people ask you out if they don't want to go out with you? Anyways, I have too many questions and I probably shouldn't spend my time focusing on them. So, moving along. There's not much to say. This is the person who just wants like a text friend and texts endlessly about this, that, and the other. I remember chatting with one guy and he sent me like 3 or 4 emails, like long emails, like pictures of his kids and like, this is the gem of my life, and oh my gosh, and just like paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, and he never like wanted to meet. It was so strange, and it was just like so intense, like to try to like pull me into your life in a really weird one-sided way when I'd never met you. So I don't need a pen pal. I had a pen pal in the 80s and I wonder how they're doing now that I'm thinking about it. Any hoodles. Okay, number 6 is the angry people. Hey, I've been angry in my life and not realized it. So I feel like I have a little bit of authority to talk about it. There are people out there in dating land that are in some serious need of psychological help. And a lot of them I find are successful in their jobs. I don't know. I mean, I read The Psychopath Test by John Ronson, and I always wonder if people are on the spectrum or they're like a narcissistic personality disorder. I don't know. Or just plain angry. Because the thing about anger is that you don't realize you're angry and you overreact to things that you should really get the facts about. And with anger, I find comes judgment and overreactions and abuse and on and on and on. So my example, and there's fun swearing ahead, is this guy had asked me like, hey, do you want to go for a drink? This was on a Sunday morning. He sent that message. And in my mind, I was like, okay, well, this is the beginning of planning for a drink. And so I wrote back, I was like, sure. He's like, okay, what time and where today? And I'm like, ooh, nobody agreed on today. And like, thanks for asking what I'm doing. So I wrote back, I'm like, oh, I'm not actually free today. I work 2 to 10. And he wrote back a very reasonable answer. He wrote back, you're a stupid fucking idiot waste of time. So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That guy, he read me. So, joking aside, I guess I'll get serious for a moment and just say that it's very sad. I did email the website. They couldn't have cared less. I find that abusive behavior. I certainly didn't warrant it. And I don't think anybody should be talked to that way. And there are a lot of very, very egotistical, angry people out there. And just, clean it up. Really, at this age, clean it up. Become self-aware. Honestly, it's so douchey. It's so disgusting and despicable. So my last one is the ever fun, just blasting you with sexuality. Sexual overtures, if I may. Grosses me out. And for you smart men, I love you so much. The ones that get that women need their gray cells stimulated. They need their heart stimulated. They need to feel safe and secure and like they trust you before that can enter the conversation. You guys, mwah, I love you. The rest of you, did you grow up on porn or something? Because we're not your sexual objects. Don't treat us like that. I think sexuality is such a personal thing. Even if you are very, quick to run the bases, so to say. Oh boy, this is why I'm single, because I do that really weird newsy voice. Okay, even if you're like that, I still think it's disrespectful to really pump out what your sexual desires are onto somebody, not even knowing what their sexuality is. Let alone for people like me who that's such a huge turnoff and it actually makes me feel disrespected. It's just icky, icky, icky all over. So, thank you once again for listening to another dating rant. And, I wish I had something positive to end it off on. I'm not sure that I do. So maybe send me something positive. Because I don't know what's going on in the world today, and I wish I could go back to the 80s. Anyways, I'm gonna go watch some Stephen Colbert or Paul F. Tompkins because they are my dream men, and I'll just stay in my dream world a little bit longer because I just can't get this world sorted out. Thanks for listening. So much love.